So we are back here in 2021. It is season 2 of the Peach and Steve show, and we're going to get right into it. This episode is titled I Love You, which is true to everyone listening to us right now. That's how we feel towards you. And it's a new year. It's a new time to tell people you love them. Peach, do you think that that is an uncomfortable phrase to say and or hear from someone else?
No, I don't. I mean, if they really mean it, then of course, I think you should say it.
I
It's
agree.
uncomfortable only if it's not reciprocated.
True. I guess that's
Mm-hmm.
that's where I was thinking. And if it's not from a family member, then you're like, oh, this is new. And when I think of the phrase, when I thought of why talking about it, and anyone watching, I'm wearing a Baby Yoda T-shirt, and it keeps distracting me looking at the recording. But
So
um,
cute.
my saddest story of all time, which I don't think I've ever told you here on the
Yay.
show, and once again, this is another thing my sister's hearing for the first time. So I've been told by two girls that they loved me. So they said it first. Okay.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I know I'm very hot. And in both scenarios, okay,
Uh-huh.
they were puking wasted on the floor. Yes, I know.
What?
So this
What?
is this is why I'm going first because it's not as fun as other people's. So both times the exact same scenario. I'm in the bathroom, I'm dating someone who likes to drink a little too much, and it's a weekend, and they're just vomiting, and I'm like, I'm not bothered by vomit. I'm just like, okay,
That's
get
good.
get it out. I should be in these situations. But so they're vomiting and they're like, and I'm like, oh, and because I was like, oh, and then you have to say it back in that scenario. I couldn't be like, I'm still thinking about it. I don't know. So then, since my life repeats itself, in both scenarios, the next morning they remembered that they had said it. So
Really?
then,
I was gonna say, like, what?
yeah,
How do you know they're gonna remember?
I was hoping they wouldn't. In the first scenario, the girl was so wasted that she heard me talking just after she had said it and then kicked me out. This was in college because she thought I was making fun of her, but really I was just talking to her roommate, just talking. So next day I'm like, you said that and then you kicked me out of the room. I'm very confused. In the second scenario, the girl woke up and was like, I remembered what I said. And I was like, yes, I feel the same way. So I've never had that nice romantic bachelor style, where they say, I think I'm falling in love with you. That's the term they use on the show.
Mm.
I've had the same thing, and I told my current girlfriend the story, and she said, that's my favorite story about you. It makes me laugh. I was like, it's not funny. It's sad. Okay.
I'm surprised that they like didn't act like they didn't remember, but I guess they really did love you
Yeah, well,
if
I
they
don't
brought it
know.
up.
I was like, when it happened the second time, I was like, oh my God, this can't keep happening.
How many months, like how long did you know this person before they said I love you?
The first one was like not long. It was like a month, but it was college. We were like 18.
Okay, yeah.
Second one was like a few months. And then you don't really know. You're like, yeah, I feel that way too. But it's like, do I? Because I didn't really bring it up. I didn't
It
really,
didn't cross your mind at all before they said it when they were drunk.
not
You were
really,
just
no.
like totally wow. Okay. Oh, interesting. That's why
Yes.
I would never say it first. Or I get like I would not.
Yeah. So that's and you, as a girl, you should have the luxury of being told. But in my situation, I was told drunkenly twice. So everything I think is a theory is false. But that's my sad stories. I feel like you have maybe more, enlightening or more fun ones.
I definitely have some stories, but I'm not done with you. I need to
Okay, I was
know
trying to get out of it.
how many times has someone told you I love you? That's not a family member or friend, like a romantic partner.
Just those two. That's it.
Just those two. That makes that story so much better. Okay. Noted.
That's what I'm saying. It's only those two. So the next time, if a girl's drunk and throwing up, I'd be like, no, it's happening.
Yeah, you need to date someone sober.
Well, I am dating someone now who's it's a nice change where she'll hang out and drink with me, but she's not a crazy drinker. I'm like, huh, this is new. So
Yeah,
it's
mature,
interesting.
new
I think it's
mature
called growing
relationship.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely had someone tell me when they were drunk once.
Oh, it's the worst.
Um, one on drugs and another one I don't really remember what it was, but clearly I didn't have the mutual feelings, so I barely remember it. It wasn't a big moment for me. And then one time I said it first, and that wasn't my best moment. Even though I truly meant it, it was a little bit manipulative of me. I'm not gonna lie. But the other, the other three, um, yeah. So
Wow.
four times, four boyfriends. Um, and the one of them was during, a very drunk time, like a sexy time.
Hmm.
So that was interesting. And I didn't say it back. And I didn't know if I should say it back. Like when he was sober, I was like, what if he doesn't remember? I don't know. But in the morning, I mumbled it very quickly and ran away.
You're like, I
And
love you.
left
Thank you
and
very
went
much.
home.
I'm
I was like,
leaving.
oh, bye. Um, so yeah. And that was after like 6 months of dating. And I was reading online, doing some research saying that like 3 months is usually the sweet spot for saying I love you.
Wow.
So
It's weird because it's like you're saying it, but I feel like everyone's gonna feel different when you're dating. Not everyone's gonna be at the exact same level, even, unless you're like a weird Christian couple or something, and you're like told you're at
yeah.
the exact same level.
Yeah. Or you're both on like ecstasy.
Yeah,
Then you will be on the same level.
true. I try. I
Not
want to find
saying
it perfectly sober, like 11 a.m. Just
nice. Like a wake up, like you look
over
at the other
breakfast.
person over breakfast, you're like, love you. Oh, that's cute.
Because
That's
then if they
nice.
don't say it back, you can just be like, "Well, I'm leaving now, and I'm at full mental capacity."
So you never told someone you love them first, is what you're saying.
Correct.
I had an ex-boyfriend constantly told me he hated me and he felt like that was an equivalent to I love you. And I
Huh.
voiced that I did not feel that way and it was actually
Oh,
making me feel bad.
like he'd say, "I hate you," but it was supposed to be like romantic
Yeah,
or
and I
like
was like,
endearing.
I love you. Yeah, it was supposed to be like a little inside joke and I was like, I would starting to confuse me because I'm never hearing the other one
And
and I would just like to be reminded.
you don't want to hear that all the time. I hate you. That's
Right.
not
And
fun.
it was like really confusing me and then he decided not to. So, fun.
Yeah, it's always like if we're having this conversation or you have it with anyone and you're not dating a current person who you've said it to, it's always going to be a sad bummer story.
Yeah, you're just like,
That's why I want people listening to comment or message us with their stories because they're all ridiculous. I feel like if you're not with that person, it's going to be a ridiculous story.
it's ridiculous, especially when you look back on it and you're just
I
like,
know.
oh my
It's
God, what was
cringeworthy.
I doing? What was I thinking? The only time I've said I love you to someone and they haven't said it back has been like family members. Which still hurts.
Yeah, that would almost be worse.
Still hurts. It's like I thought we were obligated to love each other. Guess not. Wish I knew before, putting myself out
Yeah,
there.
it's big to say to anyone.
Yeah, it is big to say to anyone, even though like my dad always tells me that like our generation says I love you too much. But I mean, we've had a lot go on go down. Um,
Also, just because older
so
generations people like couldn't express their feelings doesn't mean
yeah.
that that's a good thing. I'm sure like people our parents' age would have loved to have heard that all the time growing up, but their parents would never say that because they were never told in
Yeah.
like the 30s.
Right. I think it's like totally okay to say I love you if you mean it.
You shouldn't say it to make someone uncomfortable though. Like you shouldn't like DM,
No.
creepily,
No.
but.
No. But, if you're dating someone and you mean it, like sure.
And I guess yeah too. if some time passes and you say it and they're like, I'm not there, but you are, then it's like, well, maybe we'll never be at the same spot. Because you don't want to like push someone to like you, you know?
No. You should
So
let someone know that you like them before telling them you love them,
you should
I
say you
think.
like them.
You can even hit them with a like. It's like the hint that it's like the love you's coming, but I don't know. Mm,
I don't know if I think bringing it out during a sexual activity would be very risky because you're in a moment,
it
it's
is.
happening, you know, someone's flopping around on top of someone else, and then you say it and it totally pauses the situation.
It does. It
It's
does.
gonna freeze it.
And
Even
then
if the
you're
other
just
person
like,
agrees, yeah, you're stuck.
mm-hmm. Yep.
The flopping ceases and you have to have a conversation.
Right. And it's like a nice thing, but it's also like, what is
Like,
going
we
on?
put Phoebe Bridgers on in the background, there was a whole vibe going, and now you're saying this to me. Yeah, if I was a lady and a nice gentleman was on top of me and I was laying prone, I'd feel obligated to say it back because I'm in a prone position.
Well, you're assuming that it was in a prone position.
Sure. Casual missionary is what I was assuming.
Yeah. I mean, it could be flip flopped.
You turn around, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, or you're pegging and they say it, you know. There's
That's the dream. That's the dream, man.
like, oh, I
I'll
just
know
really
I
hope
found the one when that happens.
the dream is to peg someone, have them turn around and go, I love you, and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, shut
Yeah.
up, you.
Mm-hmm.
You, I don't even know what dominatrixes would
Ellie.
say. But I was, you know, it's. I'm curious of your advice for. Let me think. What's your advice for a girl who is dating someone, feels like they want to say it first, but aren't sure how the guy would respond?
I feel like if you're not sure if they would respond mutually, then maybe it's not time yet.
It's like an engagement almost.
That's what I would think. Oh, don't get me started on engagements. I have a
Oh
lot to
no.
say about engagements. That's a whole other
Are
episode.
you against surprise engagements? That's my yes or no
Oh
question.
my God, no. I'm
Oh,
so against it. Yes, I'm
yes.
so
You're
against
against
it.
just being like, marry me now. We never talked about this.
Absolutely not. Rude, manipulative. I can't say that word. Manipulative. So,
It is,
and
yeah.
especially in front of friends and family as well.
Yes, I would do
Absolutely
mine
not.
in a remote location. So if she said no, I'd shake hands and leave.
Exactly. It's so manipulative to do it in front of people. And also, if you think that I'm not down to embarrass you in front of friends and family, like you're wrong. I will say no. And
Yeah, I feel like from going to I love you to engagement, in both scenarios, there should be some conversation beforehand of like, do you see ourselves dating like long term?
it
Engagement
should
is,
not
do
be
you
a
want to get
shock.
married? Yeah,
Do you want to spend the rest of your life with
yeah.
me? And like, no. Discussions,
Yeah, you
multiple,
have to have the
multiple.
conversation. So it's like, I'm going to propose to you. Would you say yes? The girl says yes. You're like, all right, now you don't know when it's coming. But I agree. You
Right.
can't
There
just
should be
shock
like
people.
multiple conversations.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Sorry to get you off on a tangent.
I'm getting like real
Don't
heated
propose to
about
me. I'll
this.
kill you.
Don't. And on birthdays or any other holidays, no.
Yeah. Can't. Yeah.
I
I
think
agree.
it's so manipulative and selfish and rude for someone to propose on the other person's birthday.
Yeah.
How
Because if you
dare
say
you?
no, your birthday's ruined forever.
Exactly. And that's my day. Pick a different day. There's like 365 of them.
No, I know. And then when the girl says no in public, people are like, "Oh, she sucks." It's like you don't know that guy could be a weirdo.
Yeah. And also, like, don't propose in public. It is not romantic.
Or at like a hockey game on the big screen.
Oh, oh my God.
Those are the I've seen one in person and the girl said no and I was like younger. I'm like, I don't think that's good.
No, it's not. It's not. And then it's embarrassing for her too. It's like she's not agreeing to be in the spotlight to reject you. I'm sure she didn't want to do that.
I'm glad I brought that up because me and you are on the same page. I'm curious if
Good.
people aren't, where it's like, no, I feel like the whole it being a shock thing is like a thing of the past.
I hope so.
Because now it's like, you know, they're like, oh, the divorce rate's so high, you shouldn't get married. It's like, no, you should probably only marry someone who you know also wants to marry you. That's why the divorce rate's so
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
Like, well, we
That's
never
so
lived
funny. Never thought
together.
about that.
Like,
Yeah, and they're like, no, the divorce rate's higher if you live together before. It's like, what? Who's
that
doing
would
these
make no sense.
polls?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. I'm like,
That's like I lived with a lady, and my parents were like, "Are you sure about this?" I go, "Well, I'm gonna find out if it's gonna work." It did not.
Yeah,
What if I didn't know, and then I lived with her now? Or anyone does this
exactly.
scenario, you know? It's like you're like, "Well,
Oh,
you shouldn't do that because what if it goes bad?" I go, "Well, then you shouldn't get married if you need to live in separate apartments."
100%. 100%. I totally agree. I mean, I've never lived with a boyfriend. I've never gotten to that state. I definitely tried to. I definitely like hinted at it, like, what's your child like? What do you think? And
Move in all your stuff.
um, yeah, like hard rejection there. Definitely hurt. But then I knew I was like, this probably isn't it.
It is a tricky thing to
Um,
do too, because it's like if you're gonna be on like a lease, I've experienced this. It's like, well, for this next year, or whatever the term of the lease is, we have to
yeah.
live together, and if it's not gonna go well, then like what, someone's gonna move out, but you still have to pay. So it's really tricky.
Well, I
I
think it's
think people should
important
do it.
to
Yeah.
yeah, it's important to have those conversations
Oh
because
yeah.
even if you are going to be with someone long term, there's always the risk that it's things aren't going to go as planned or as you hoped in your romantic fantasy. So now what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you have a
And
kid.
also, I think month to month leases need to be more of a thing. This whole like 1 year,
I
way
know.
too big of a commitment. Give me month to month,
Month
six
to
months,
month.
3 months.
Add in month to month dating contracts with those leases. Then that way you're like, all right, we'll figure it out next month and see if we want to keep dating.
Exactly. Well, you should be checking in and making sure that you still do want to be dating and everything's
Mm-hmm.
fine. Because so often you get so wrapped up into like just a routine that you're like, oh my God, do I even want to like date this person?
Exactly. I know I have a friend who was living with a girl for years and he broke up with her. He's like, I had no bad feelings. I just didn't want to get married to her. It was more of like a
Yeah.
friendship. And I was like, that's so sad. He's like, yeah, it was. But like I didn't want to like lead her on. I'm like, oh, jeez. And they had like a house and stuff. Crazy.
Oh my
It was
God,
it
that's
was her
crazy.
house, but like he would pay toward. But yeah. So
Yeah,
they were exchanging a lot of hollow I love yous, I think, which was the
that's not
saddest story I
good.
heard. I was like, oh
That's not
no,
good. You don't want a hollow I love you.
no, or a routine one. I don't like routine ones
Oh,
either because then it's just like
no.
it's empty.
Mm-mm. No.
And it
I
doesn't have to
actually
be
just,
like
yeah.
no. You can. I was just gonna say it doesn't have to be romantic all the time. It could just be
No. I just remembered that one time I did say I love you to a boyfriend, and he, after this was like a year after it had been initially said, and he didn't respond.
well,
And I was like, maybe he just did not hear me. Ended up, I came back from the trip I was going to leave when I was like, bye, love you. He broke up with me, so I should have known.
wow.
But you look back 2 years later, and you're just like, oh yeah, that was that.
That's always the worst when you're like excited and the person you're dating is being like overly dramatic. Like, I don't know if things are working. It's like, dude, I'm having a good day. Don't throw your problems on me during my day.
Yeah, don't break up with me on my day.
Yeah, break up with me like on a Tuesday afternoon when I have like, I'm already
Mm-hmm.
bummed and
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. Getting dumped is never fun, but it's when they do it when you're having a good day, it's the worst. You just want to fight
I
them.
did I did just send one of those texts.
Oh yeah,
Not that we were dating, but
seeing each other.
seeing each other in the I can't see you
Do you
anymore.
find it painful to send a text that you say I'm just not into you?
Well, I didn't say that. So um I have a text though that I felt a lot better after I sent it. It was so much of the anxiety of what am I gonna say and how do I say it.
Yeah.
But it truly was a it's not you, it's a me situation. Um but I've just been really busy recently, like really, really busy. And I've been seeing, I was seeing, some people and they wanted to hang out and I just like genuinely was busy. And so I wasn't seeing them all at the same time. It was just, this is the third time that this has happened where I'm just too busy for like 2 weeks. I just cannot hang out. And they're like, you know what? If you're not into me, just
Uh,
say it. And
yeah.
I'm like, that really isn't it, but you're making it clear that I just don't have the time to date right now. So
And if they're
I
gonna
cut it
say
out.
that, then that means they're really needy.
Right. And I learned that the third time. So this was the third person who did this. And I was like, okay, I need to respond and just say, I am in no position to date anyone right now, and I'm not.
Yeah.
But
That's
the
weird to
first two
me.
guys,
Yeah.
I just didn't respond to that. I was
Because,
just like,
like,
oh shit.
when I'm talking to girls or even dating the current person I'm dating now, we couldn't hang for like 10 days. And I wasn't like, wow, like this is crazy. It's like, all right, yeah, there's COVID and we're busy.
Yeah, there's COVID. I have like so
Hey,
much
yeah.
going on. But I also feel like people just don't understand what I do. So there's that too.
Yeah. And it's like, all you have to do is be like, hey, let's hang out when you're free. And if the person never gets back to you, you can like be a big boy and accept it, not be like, hey, do you
Right,
hate me?
because not having a response is a response.
Yeah. Or just
No
be like,
response is a response, is what I mean.
yeah.
Even though that's not the best way to do it, but um, it is a response.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just too busy and
So,
I don't want to get COVID and die.
yeah, and it's it's just hit me up in the summer. Hit me up in
Yeah.
the summer. I'm booked in the spring.
Exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we covered a lot of good I love you ground. We both
Yeah.
It's funny because when you talk about it, you're like with me at least, it's someone asked me like, oh, have you ever said it? And I go, it's not a fun story for me to tell. Like I have plenty of
I love it. I
fun
think it's a
stories.
very fun story.
Yeah, I told the current girl I'm dating, I'm like, you want to hear the saddest story of all time? And she laughed. I was like, ah, how funny. But even with you, it's like, yeah, I said it, but I'm not dating any of these people anymore. So then you're like you trigger yours. I trigger myself all the time. I'm like, I've
Your
never
brain
triggered
does.
my
You're just like,
stuff, but then I bring stuff up, and I'm like, oh, that was horrible.
Like, why? Why did I think of that? Oh, I do that like all day.
But so
Terrible.
in season 2 here of the Peach and Steve show, we're gonna aim for this TV episode length, like a 25-ish minute episode. Hopefully that helps people on their commute and helps everyone stay engaged and focused. Um, really, here at the start of the year, my main takeaway is I'm a big fan of the song "Driver's License" that is now #1 in the United States Billboard charts.
Yes.
Just saw that before we started recording. And this episode is being recorded well before it's being posted, but will be posted on our usual Thursday every other week slot. So we will be sticking with that once you hear this. And you can find us all over. YouTube's doing well. Spotify, Apple, Google, Peach's TikTok, uh, her Instagram, my Instagram, which I'm just trying to get Phoebe Bridgers on the show because I just discovered her way late to the party.
Oh my god, way late, but it's okay. Still welcomed.
And I was listening to Driver's License, and my girlfriend's like, "Are you just an emotional teen girl?" I'm like, "Let me stop you right there. I've always been an emotional teen girl. I just found new music."
That's so true. That's definitely your niche, an emotional teen girl.
Yes. Of who I am, not of who I'm looking to hang out with. But they make good music.
Oh my god, yeah, just like you're. Oh my...
That's my calling card, and we're gonna end it right there.
Okay.
But on that, I think we covered a lot of ground without getting too hashtag deep. Do you want to, as always, just pitch where people can find your stuff before we sign off here?
Yeah, my YouTube and Instagram is at Peach Mango Juice, and my TikTok is Peach Mango Juice 777. My lucky numbers. So find me there, and I'm so happy if you're listening still that you're here. Thank you.
Me too. I'm very happy that people are listening to us. It's very fun. I get some good feedback. People love to make fun of us for the stories we tell, and that's fine because we are being open to both people we know and to strangers.
Yep. If you're not embarrassing yourself, you're not trying.
Life is an embarrassment. That's what I've said.
Yep.
Have you ever been embarrassed? My whole life is a long embarrassment.
Same.
But from Peach, I'm Steve, and we will see you next time.
Bye.